Hi guys and welcome to episode 6 of Gnimsh Talk. Today I want to talk about all the Argent tournament cards that got released, maybe without the cards that I actually reviewed already. So without further ado, let's jump into the cards. So the first card I have on my list is Poisoned Blade. It's a 4 mana weapon for Rogue. Your hero power gives this weapon +1 attack instead of replacing it. So, well, it looks great actually, because sometimes Rogue just wants to have the weapon to grow and you need cards like the Depoison to buff it up, but sometimes you just have time to weapon up as well. And you know, in the very beginning of Hearthstone, the Rogue's weapon, the hero power was actually working in a way so that when you use the hero power, when you already have a weapon on board, you just buff the weapon. And it got nerfed, it was too good at the time. So this is kind of like a back of the hero power, like the hero power is back in a different way. So these are trying to bring back the effect of the hero power buffing the weapon, specific weapon to be here. And well, it looks alright. I think like for now, a 4 mana cost is cool. In the matches where you want to use it, you can use it. You can use it a couple of times. It doesn't buff the durability, so you only strike 3 times. Compared to a bigger weapon for 5 mana, a 4/3. Well, it seems a bit worse, but it's like it's different. It's like it's a flexible slot. Also, like 4 mana slot might be alright for Rogue. Normally, the Oil Rogue has, well, Tinker, Teacher, Pilot to Shredder, but I think Poison Blade is actually a pretty fine card. So I definitely will see some use in the future. The next card on my list is Garrison Commander. It's a 2 mana 2/3. You can use your hero power twice on your turn. I think this card is great. It's like, not only the stats are good, because it's a 2 mana 2/3, so a total of 5 stats, and it trades with 2/2 minions, like it trades with Mad Scientist, it trades with Haunted Creeper. You can use your hero power twice on your turn, so in certain decks, like let's say in Warlock, in Zoo maybe, like you can use it late game to like tap twice, or like in Hunter you can use it late game as well to like steady shot twice, and if you get it early, you're fine with playing a 2/3 mana minion, just to trade and to create some pressure. So I think definitely a card that's usable and constructed at some point. It's not like everybody will play it, obviously, but in specific decks, it might actually work. So an okay card, definitely from the set. Another card is Silverhand Regent. Inspire Summon a 1/1 Silverhand Recruit, a 3 mana 3/3. Again, great stats, a 3 mana 3/3 is perfectly fine. And then you can use your hero power to summon a 1/1 Recruit. And yeah, it's like a neutral card, so dudes can be summoned by other classes right now as well, so it's not a Paladin card, and that's pretty cool. Like some classes definitely can use a 1/1 just in case. Like imagine it in Priest, just producing the 1/1s and also healing the Regent if you want. So definitely, again, a card that can be used in specific circumstances, like whenever you need a minion producing minions, like if you want to have a lot of minions on board, and whenever you're going to use your hero power, I think it's fine. Decks like Zoo maybe as well, yeah, like 3 mana 3/3, you lifetime, you get a 1/1, basically empowering your hero power, especially if you like create minions and you can then buff your minions. So I think it's pretty good. Maybe even in Druid as well, because now, like, let's say there was a token Druid. Druid has a lot of buffs for minions. Definitely a card worth your attention, especially it's just a common card, so it's not supposed to be good, but I think it's decent. Argent Horserider, a 3 mana 2/1 Divine Shield charge. So you can play it, it can charge, it can kill something, you don't lose it, it has a Divine Shield. Smork, and well, it's another minion with charge. Now the only question is it worth it, and is it good to have something like this actually with the charge as well? I'm thinking Divine Shield with the charge, maybe like if you buff it, maybe in a Paladin, because it loves Divine Shields, and if you buff it, it can charge at the same time. Maybe it can replace Arcane Golem, possibly. It, like, in theory, it can attack twice, because you charge face with it deals damage, then they have to attack into it, and it can attack maybe once again because it survives. So it really depends. Like, it's an interesting card because there is nothing like this in the game right now, so it's not like it has to compete versus Arcane Golem, but in specific decks where you want this kind of card, it might be good. Like I'm thinking about Blood Knight, right? Like Blood Knight needs Divine Shield cards in your deck, so maybe you can build a Divine Shield aggro deck that actually runs Blood Knight as well as a finisher. So definitely an option. It's like it's cool that it has charge. I think it's balanced because it's one. If it would be a 2/2, it would be too strong. Definitely, just trading into a 2/2, killing a 2/2, and then like it would be hard to finish it off. Having a 2/2, but a 2/1 I think is perfectly balanced. And again, it's just a common. Arjun Watchman, a 2 mana 2/4, dude on a Griffin, can attack. Inspire can attack as normal this turn. So. It's a rare, and the first time I saw this card, I was thinking, okay, like I like it because it's kind of like Ancient Watcher, but it can unsilence itself when you life tap, right? So I was thinking, okay, will it actually work in handlock if I play it instead of Ancient Watcher? Because it has 4 health, I can still taunt it if I want to. If I life tap, I can attack into something. 2 attack is enough to kill the small minions. So in those decks. That are not aggro, to just protect yourself and kill stuff. But on the other hand, maybe an aggro as well, because if you let's play in Zoo deck, you do want to life tap many times. In Hunter deck, you want to steady shot as well. And if you have a 2/4, that's actually interesting, especially that maybe Face Hunter is actually running Iron Big Owl. So if you feel like you're not using a steady shot, you can always silence your Arjun Watchman. The stats are crazy for 2 mana. It's just 6 in stats for 2 mana is great. So that's again like a card that maybe on the first look you think like, hey, maybe it's weird, but on the other hand, let's say you do buff it with Defender of Argus, and then you have a 3/5, and people have to kill it, and you are like, okay, if I want to attack, I need just hero power, and most of the hero powers are just good. So I think this card has a lot of potential, and the fact that you don't have to silence it really for it to work. It can still taunt if you taunt it up. It can still attack if you just want to attack. I think that's great. So the card is definitely again interesting and can possibly be used. Sea Kraken is terrible. It's just so bad. It's just another 9 mana card, 9/7, and when it comes into play, it deals 4 damage. So you can kill a minion, right? Like maybe finish your opponent off, but. No, just there's so like it's a common, right? But there's so many good like 9-drops in the game right now. So I can only see Sea Kraken being this troll card that you can get from Portal, and suddenly it's actually good because it's like 6 mana, and for 6 mana you play it and you kill something big because it's 4 damage. Suddenly for 6 mana is actually not bad, right? And you get a 9/7 that has to be dealt with. So like a card. It's cool that's in your collection, but you will never willingly put it into your deck. The only thing like I'm thinking from Magic, right? Like or World of Warcraft. If there is any way to cheat it into play with like revive effects or like put it from your graveyard into play. So maybe in two free sets when we get like I don't know. The Undead Legion, Arthas, Death Knight class, and when we actually have a graveyard and can discard it on turn 1 and then on turn 2 put it into play, maybe we'll then play Sea Kraken as a card. But for now, it's just no. Just no. Clockwork Knight is a 5/5 mana, and because I'm playing Mech Mage now, I think the card is actually okay. In Mech Mage, Fjola is great as a card. Just a 5 mana 8/8, and people cannot do much with it, and you don't even care about the drawback. If you have a Clockwork Knight that has no drawback, and it also buffs the mech you played before, I think the card is cool. I think it actually is playable, and I might even play it. I will definitely try it in Mech Mage or like Mech Shaman, because if you influence the turn, like it influences the turn you play it, which is really important. Like let's say Fjola, I play it on 5, and then I'm like, okay, I have an 8/8, but then like my opponent can do whatever they want, and I do not influence the turn I played Fjola. But let's say I had my Paladin Shredder, or I had my Snow Chugger, which was a 2/3, or I had my whatever, like Yeti from turn 4. And my opponent played his Yeti, and then I suddenly play Clockwork Knight, and I trade my Yeti into his Yeti, and I have my 5/5, and I have my 5/1, or like 5/2 actually. So my opponent is like, it really helps you to push the board state. So I like it. I like Clockwork Knight. I'm super happy that Blizzard is actually supporting mechs as well in the new expansion. I think it's super cute, and I didn't know what that is when they showed it in the trailer, but now I know, and it looks great. Like this horse is super funny. So Clockwork Knight is a great common card. I love it. Demonfuse. A 2 mana, give a demon +3/+3, give your opponent a mana crystal. I'm super sad that this card... Well, it's okay, the card seems bad. And I'm sad because in World of Warcraft, this card was amazing. In World of Warcraft, those 3 mana, you can remove a minion from the game. And as an instant, I think. But whatever, like 3 mana, remove a minion, which is just amazing. Here, for 2 mana, you buff a dude that has to be a demon. And you give him mana crystal. So it's kind of similar to Arcane Golem, because for 2 mana, let's say, you deal 3 more damage and you give a mana crystal, instead of it's like for 2, and instead of for 3, you deal 4 damage and give a mana crystal. It can be usable in aggro-oriented demon decks, and we don't know all the demons in the new expansion, so there might be a demon with charge, and if there's a demon with charge, we're looking great. If there is no demon with charge, it can still be usable, because it's a free, it's a free damage for 2 mana, another damage card. So right now, demons are having, like Warlock is having a lot of bursts as well with this, with Soulfires, with Dark Bombs. So we might see a very Smork-oriented Warlock at some point, which is a super aggressive version, because Zoo is more like aggressive but more mid-range minion based. But with those spells, we maybe will see something more similar to Hunter. We'll see. For now, it doesn't seem great. It's just a common card, so it's really again, it's okay that the card is available for deck building and for deck creators, but it's not a card that's that you're like, oh my god, this is so amazing, I have to play it. Flamelance. A 5 mana, deal 8 damage to a minion. So if you really want to kill that Acolyte of Pain, like really, real talk, really kill Acolyte of Pain, you can deal 8 damage to it. But to be frank, it's a worse fireball, because 1 more mana, 2 more damage. I don't think that's worth it, and the biggest thing that you lose is flexibility, because right now you can't deal damage to face. You just have to kill minion, and most of the high priority targets, the minions, they have 6-7 health. So you can basically for six mana with the hero power and fireball, you deal 7, and you do 7 to whatever you want. And here you're just limited to 8 mana to a minion, like 5 mana to 8 damage to minions. So I think like this card is actually bad at this point, and yeah, not really. I can't see it in any of the mage decks for the moment, unless we have some minions like whenever this minion takes damage, deal damage to your opponent. But for now, it sucks basically. And King's Defender, 3 mana, 3/2, Battlecry, gain +1 durability for each friendly minion on the battlefield with taunt. I like it. It's a warrior weapon. Warrior weapon that's overall good. It's 3 mana, so it fits the slot kind of. Right now, warriors are most running 2 mana weapons, 4 mana weapons. 3 mana. If you want to play something else on 2 or 4, if you want to drop Fire War Axe, if you feel like you can drop Fire War Axe, you can actually play King's Defender, and you build a different kind of warrior with King's Defender. Like you basically have a lot of taunts, like or just a couple, but basically you want to make the weapon a bit better. And King's Defender is actually okay. Maybe people will run 1 Div Spite, 1 Defender to have different weapons. People can ask, like, did Warrior need more weapons? I think, well, Warrior has a lot of weapons, so the more flexibility there is for the deck builders to build a new different Warrior, it's great. I'm not the specialist in Warrior builds, definitely, so hard to say how good it is, but again, like, card is not bad, and it's a rare, so it's decent. Coliseum Manager, a 3 mana 2/5, inspire, return this minion to your hand. So at the first look, it looks really bad because like you want to hero power a lot, right? And then it just returns to your hand, so you have to replay it. But the first thing that comes to mind is like, okay, you play it on 3, it's a 2/5, so stats are great. It's like it's above curve because it's not a 2/4, it's a 2/5, it's better. Now you can kill something maybe, like before you use your hero power, you are not forced to use your hero power, you may use it whenever you want. And you can return it to hand, so it kind of saves you a card, let's say. It's like, you attack into something, you maybe kill it, and then you hero power, and this guy returns to hand, and you play it next turn. And again, you can maybe kill something. So, card doesn't seem great. It has some use. Maybe it will be better as an arena card because it provides you with some card advantage if you just kill minions and then kind of artificially heal it by returning it to your hand. But no, I don't think it's good. Alright, so we have legendary card Eydis Darkbane. It's the first of the Valkyr. And a 3 mana, 3/4. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, deal 3 damage to a random enemy. So, whenever you want to buff Mrs. Darkbane, then you deal 3 damage to a hero or maybe like a minion. I think it's amazing. Like this card, because there is also her sister, and I will talk about her in a moment. But, well, actually, let's talk about two at the same time. So, a second one is Fjola Lightbane. Again, 3 mana, 3/4. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, gain a Divine Shield. So we have two beautiful Valkyrs, and whenever you buff them with whatever, it's either 3 damage to a random opponent or a Divine Shield. I think Divine Shield version is better because you choose how to trade, and I'm just thinking about those buffs like Mark of the Wild and Druid, and it's a 5/6 Divine Shield. You attack into something, you kill it, and then next turn maybe you buff it again. You target it with the spell, like you don't have to even buff it, you can rough it for 1 as Druid, then it gets Divine Shield. Unless it actually doesn't work because like you target it with Wrath and then it gets Divine Shield and then you actually get the Divine Shield out. But we'll see. But basically just buffs like Valence Chosen. It's a 5/8 and then it has Divine Shield and then you Power Word Shield and it has Divine Shield again. It just trades and trades and trades. Like think about those zombie chows with Divine Shields being like 4/7s. Or like 4/7 injured Blade Masters, how much damage can Priest deal with that and how hard they are to kill. Imagine that they have Divine Shields now. Like this card is great whenever you curve out into her. Like but even later, late game, like let's say turn 5, you just play Fjola and buff it and buff her. Target her with a spell. Like maybe there are other spells we might think about that can be used here. I'm just trying to think about other classes. Like what can you use? Can you use it in Warlock maybe? Like are there buffs in Warlock? Like Power Overwhelming, let's say, and then she gets it. So like there are uses, and the stats, the 3/4 is also great. It's a buff curve. It trades really well with stuff, and so Darkbane, like Eydis Darkbane as well. The 3 damage. It's more Smork. Like I think if you have buffs, like in a Priest deck, you can play both of them, just instead of Dark Cultist, and they fit the slot perfectly. In other decks, you can play them anyway, I feel. Like, also, the fact that you just play them, they are priority targets, because your opponent doesn't know how many spells you have in your deck, or if you have the buffs. So you can just play Eydis Darkbane, just as a great minion, and your opponent will be like, oh my god, I have to kill her, because he's going to buff her with stuff. So yeah, a lot of cool things. Great legendary cards, definitely playable. I like the fact that they're like smaller legendary cards because right now most of the legendaries sounds Thalnos, like they're the big guys. Like when you play the legendary, something really big happens. Like it's Thorison or like Sylvanas, like 6+, right? Lothep 5+. But then they're like smaller and you can still use them and they're amazing. You will feel those cards are powerful.